Welcome, everybody, to the Sunday Morning Joe and Joe Weather Show, which is brought to you by our friends at Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in
West Babylon.
New York and Southwest Suffolk.
Oh, county. I'm sorry.
Right, serving the entire New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, tri-state area with everything you need, whether you are a professional landscaper or a do-it-yourselfer. Get your truck over to Omni and pick up any mulch, topsoil, or whatever else you need. 631-756-1125. They have the best prices in town, and the website is
OmniTrueValue.com.
And our affiliate, Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system and join the fastest growing weather network on the planet. The referral link is pinned to the top of the chat board. And if you make a purchase of either the Tempest Weatherflow weather station or anything else in the weather merchandise that they offer, use the coupon code
Joe and Joe Weather
Show.
Joe and Joe Weather Show.
Joe and
well,
Joe.
Actually, we are a show, aren't we?
You know, we're a show, all right.
Yes.
Joe and Joe Weather Show is the coupon code, and you get 10% off. Speaking of off, oh, here we go. There I am. Let's go move.
Joe.
Yes, I'm coming. Just a second. There you go.
I'm saying to myself today, what possibly could we talk about? Because this looks like an easy speasy week.
Oh, the week, yeah. So, but the Memorial Day weekend now has come into play and certainly come in range. So I certainly think that we could talk about that. And of course, they wasted no time in the land of clickbait to put up stories about potential tropical cyclones moving up the East Coast, all based on 1/6Z run of the GFS. Was it early Saturday morning that had a wrapped up 990-ish low sitting just east of Delaware, just east of Chesapeake Bay or Delaware Bay, and it's so it begins. Okay?
Yes.
And so it begins. The other thing I find striking, because for whatever reason, I mean, I know the reason. It's Memorial Day weekend, so everybody's got it in their heads that it's somehow a summer weekend, which it's not. Okay, it really isn't. I get the marketing concept of the fact that Memorial Day weekend is the, quote, unofficial start of summer, okay, and that people like to maybe get down to the shore. But you know what? You've got water temperatures that are below 60, which is just not for me. And not for most people,
right?
And the fact, and they get all bent out of shape that somehow it's breaking news to them that the weekend could wind up seeing some rain. Well, you know what? The Memorial Day weekend comes deep into the heart of spring, where you still have all sorts of complications with blocking patterns and everything else. Of the three holiday weekends, it's most likely to rain on the Memorial Day holiday weekend. It just, at least on one of the 3 days.
It's very difficult of the three major summer holidays. And of course, I'm well aware Memorial Day is not officially in either astronomical or meteorological summer, but still, we think of it as a summer holiday, the first of the big three. Of those three, if you're going to have a day that's going to be out of the 3 weekend days, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, that's going to be, out of whack or out of kilter, Memorial Day is one of those days. It just it rarely ever does work out 3 in a row. Now, it's possible, looking at what's coming our way for later this week into the weekend, that high pressure will hold its ground, and that the presumed tropical cyclone that you just alluded to from yesterday's 6Z run, Joe, may very well stay to the south, and we may have 3 nice weather days coming up. Certainly not summer-like days, but 3 nice days nonetheless. Still, a lot can change between now and 1 week from now. So we'll just, we with guarded optimism, we'll say that there's a chance that we might just get a good part of Memorial Day weekend in with good weather, but still not exactly there's not 100% surety or certainty, at
No,
least just yet.
look, forget the whole tropical cyclone thing. Yeah, that to me, that's the sort of thing that you really, when it happens, it's usually right in front of you, not necessarily a week in advance. At this time of year, you need to be a lot closer to see if there's, any validity to what's going on in the atmosphere. Uh, I'm thinking that we stand a chance maybe of if we're going to lose a day, I'm thinking it might be Saturday because that's when you may have a shot for another wobbling low, just like yesterday. Another wobbling low that forms off the southeast coast and just kind of maneuvers its way up the coast with some rain. I mean, that's kind of how I'm seeing this here. It's also pretty interesting. You do have a low. I'm going to show it on the satellite loop. Might as well do that right off the bat. And while I'm getting the map, welcome to everybody on the chat board, and welcome to those of you who have taken time out of this beautiful Sunday morning to watch the Joe and Joe Weather Show. We're happy you're here. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the subscribe by hitting the subscribe button and turning your notifications on so you don't miss the Joe and Joe Weather Show, which it would leave you in a very depressing state. That would be on Sundays at 11 a.m. and Monday through Thursdays at 7:35 p.m. We usually take Fridays and Saturdays off unless there's something of consequence going on. But take a look at the loop here, and now it's the 21st of May, so we're coming to the end of mid-May and getting ready to start late May. This is not too shabby looking a system that's out there east of the Bahamas.
I'm waiting for it to come up. Otherwise, I will just go to, oh, yeah, there it is. There we go. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I mean, that's not
that immediately gets your attention when you look at the when you look at this satellite view. You say, oh, well, there's the front. What the heck is that out over the ocean?
Yeah, I mean, it's got that look that you sometimes see in these systems that develop in the subtropics deeper into the hurricane season, when you're talking in August and September, where they get that plume of showers and storms that at first looks like a giant comma, and then you start to see over time whether it becomes more concentrated. You start to see thunderstorms bubbling up near what could be a circulation center. This is going to wind up going out because if you notice, right off the East Coast, we have yesterday's weather front, so you just pretty much have this alleyway for this thing to turn northeastward anyhow. But it's kind of interesting that it seems that you take this low that came up yesterday, which was just a sort of wobbling low with a short wave coming up, and now you've got this that's way offshore that's going to go out. So you know what? If there's one at the end of the week, I wouldn't be shocked.
A mini gyre.
Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, I guess you certainly could call it that. And yes, the thing about these ocean lows, like the one from yesterday, is that the fact that sometimes they don't have to be weak; they just have to be there. And in this case, this was something that wasn't really strengthening very much. It just, or if at all, it just kind of held its own, sort of wobbled up the coast. And this time of year, when you get these kind of systems that don't exactly fly like rocket ships, and you get into the rain with them. That rain can sit over areas for a long period of time, which was the case yesterday in parts of coastal New Jersey, northeastern New Jersey, Long Island, and the southern New England. There were some fairly substantial amounts of rainfall that came out of this. I mean, not crazy numbers, but there was a good soaking rain, an inch or two.
Yeah. And I mean, locally here, I find it interesting that early in the week now, let's say last Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, some forecasters are actually trying to break this down in such a way that, wait a minute now, your Saturday is not going to be terrible. Let me just, in the morning, you might see a shower. And then later in the day, there may be some rain. But the middle part of the day might turn out to be not too bad. Clouds, but it could be dry. And of course, what eventually happened? I mean, I woke up yesterday. and the rain was already falling in New York and across Long Island. And you knew from the way everything was moving that there wasn't going to be any let up. And in fact, by the time we got to midday and afternoon, the rain had reached me. And then on my Davis weather station, whenever it rains particularly hard, it says raining cats and dogs. And I saw that a lot yesterday. As it turned out, I didn't pick up the kind of numbers that Eastern Long Island did, Joe, but I did pick up a good solid 3/4 of an inch, and then added to that in the overnight hours with another tenth or 0.15 inch. So it was a pretty good rain. And no, no matter how people were able to try to spin it early in the week that this wasn't going to be a disastrous or a complete washout on Saturday, guess what? It was a washout of a Saturday.
Yeah, and you know what? You can't. In a case like yesterday, where it was really two separate systems, you had a front coming from the west, which pretty much fell apart as it moved eastward. You had the wobbling low along the coast. There was this area right in between. Okay, if you were in western New Jersey, the eastern half of Pennsylvania, maybe on up into the Catskills, you probably didn't see very much, if anything at all, in terms of rainfall. But if you were in the eastern half of New Jersey and up by you and out east of southern New England, and this is something we discussed over, ad nauseum late last week, that this is how this was all going to play out. Meanwhile, I drew the big circle around where the next round of dry air is coming in, and of course it's still you've got a smoky sky or a semi-smoky sky that's covering the Great Lakes, the Northern Plains, and even down to parts of the Ohio Valley. So, the smoke from the wildfires up in Canada just continues to.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
No, it's not. And, we keep getting these shots with a northwest flow. That means that at some point some of this stuff is going to be coming in to the east. On the tight satellite loop, not too bad. I mean, I can see the smoke out to the west, but I also see some clearer skies further east. And there are some clouds running north-south through upstate New York into northeast PA. They're kind of thinning out as they drop southeastward. The old front is offshore. We've got leftover clouds back down through the Carolinas, down through central Georgia. I have finally broke out into some sunshine here after pouring rain like crazy last night. And with respect to the radar, not much happening for the except for along the southeast coast. We do have some showers in the Carolinas, right along the coast down to South Carolina, and that's about it. And there's also some, as you like to put it, some schmutz offshore. We've got some showers and a few downpours, some heavier downpours in West Texas and Southwest Texas there. Otherwise, not a whole lot there. Not a whole lot happening up in the Pacific Northwest, which, by the way, is where the Storm Prediction Center has its risks today, Joe, in eastern Oregon, eastern Washington, and northwestern Idaho, northwestern Montana. You don't see the risk areas there too often, but they do show up once in a while.
And you know something, Joe? I'm just thinking about the upcoming weeks and months. Whenever there's a major volcanic eruption, a major blast of ash and dust, or an aerosol cloud that's put into the atmosphere, into the stratosphere, actually, over the northern hemisphere, what ultimately happens is that we see the temperatures, the average temperatures for the weeks or months thereafter, to decline. We have a cooler, because the ash tends to reflect back the sunlight and helps to drop the overall temperature. I'm wondering whether or not this cloud of smoke is just so. I'm looking at the satellite map here, the fire and smoke map. Mm-hmm. And in fact, if you allow me to share this, I will do that. It's incredible. I mean, most of Central and North America is underneath this big cloud of, yes, and I'll say it again, schmutz. And it doesn't look like it's going to go away anytime in the immediate future. So I'm wondering whether or not, if it maintains its presence like this through June and July, whether or not the smoke may serve the same purpose as an aerosol cloud and help to bring temperatures down, and may actually lead to a cooler than normal. As you can see, I just put it up here. This is, let me back off a little bit. The green areas, the green circles are where there is no activity in terms of wildfire activity. And there are some modest flame outs or whatever in the areas of yellow. But look at this up in Alberta, Canada. You've not only got red, but now you've got even dark shades of purple. That shows you the extent of how significant the fires have been and continue to be in Alberta. And then look at this broad area right across all of southern and central Canada. I mean, it even goes to James Bay in Canada, stretches all the way across to Atlantic Canada to Labrador. And we seem to be right now along the eastern seaboard, temporarily at least, we're in a zone of not so smoky conditions, but then just to the west over the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes. Look at that thick cloud of upper level smoke continuing, thins out slightly over the northern plain states. It's just incredible. This isn't going to go away for a long time, and I don't know what to tell you.
So are all those circles, are those taken from one observation at a given time?
Well, let's see. I know I'm
just kind of curious.
If I see, like, here's an icon that looks like flame. What does that mean? That means Cannonball. The Cannonball 2 fire is a wildfire, and that's a total of 107 acres. The last report was some days ago, May 16th, 3:05 p.m. Universal or Coordinated Universal Time. No recent fire perimeter is available. Close on that. Near Paterson, New Jersey, there's a green circle. What does that mean? Push on that. Good. Air quality 37. So I guess that tells you about the air quality. And currently the trend is okay for there. But then we've got other spots like here in the Bronx, for example, there's a yellow circle. What's that? Moderate.
Somebody left their oven on.
Yeah, near Bronx, New York. So it's not so bad here. But if we go back, let's say over into let's go into. I don't understand, because if it's indicated to be so bad here, I mean, there's a thick cloak of smoke apparently. And yet we have places here that the air quality presumably is, well, good or not bad. But then again, you got to remember where the smoke is. The smoke is not near the ground. The smoke is above. This is near the village of Potosi, Wisconsin. So the air quality is good, but the sky conditions are probably rather hazy, or may I use the term smazy, because of what's going on, thanks to our friends in Western Canada, in Alberta.
Okie dokie. Steve LaPointe hitting Super Chat tip jar today, Joe. A salute to Norm Roberts. Is this Norm Roberts' birthday? Happy birthday to Norm. Usually shows up before the show starts, and he posts something on the chat board. Then I guess he either watches it at another time, or it's not exactly on his schedule. I don't see him here, but again, happy birthday to Norm Roberts.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to as I said, we did the radar, so we can go to the Storm Prediction Center. We talked about the risk that's up in the northwest today. It's a slight risk, and not a whole lot severe weather-wise this week. We've got a stripe of marginal risk, southern Alabama to the Florida Panhandle, that kind of snakes down to central Florida. Marginal risk also in northwest Texas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, southeast Colorado, southwest Kansas, and a small patch of marginal in central Montana. The only place where there's tornado risk, and it's a 2% tornado risk, is in the area that's in northwest Texas, and that is for tomorrow into Tuesday. And as we move on to Tuesday into Wednesday, we've got a small area of marginal risk in pretty much the same place in northwest Texas on into western Oklahoma. So this pattern is not really all that favorable for widespread tornado outbreaks, which is a plus. And now this is kind of interesting, because this is the 7-day rainfall that goes to 12Z Sunday. And WPC's got this stripe of a tenth to a quarter of an inch, snaking up along the Jersey coast to New York City, Long Island, and points north. Otherwise, much of the Northeast, the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, even down to me, no rain for the next 7 days, which is great. Down to northern Georgia. Excuse me, I got a little tickle in my throat here. We've got some heavier rains for Florida, and that might be again due to the way the overall pattern is set up with that low, that what looks like some kind of low that's developing east of the Bahamas, but the whole overall pattern of easterlies probably enhancing some tropical moisture there. Excuse me, off the Florida coast and off the Carolinas. Some scattered areas up and down the Rockies from West Texas northwestward up into Idaho and Montana. Some patchy areas of a half to three-quarters of an inch. And that's just about it. So certainly I think, certainly through Friday, that front, there's a front that's supposed to come through on Wednesday. And that really doesn't look like it's going to produce very much. So that makes, as you said, Joe, the week itself looks okay. It's the questionable part is what happens when we get to the weekend.
There is a weak front that is going to be dropping on down toward us. This is not the one that you just alluded to for midweek. A weak weather front, a weak cold front that's going to be working its way down through upstate New York into central New York, and then just when it gets to central New York, around the Binghamton area tomorrow morning, there's going to be a little bit of a buckling to that front, a little wave of low pressure that is anticipated to develop. And from that wave, that's why SPC has an area of general thunderstorm coverage, not for New York or for Long Island or even upstate New York or western New York, but little bubble, a little circle in central New York of possible thundery activity that may work its way up, probably diurnally, when the air gets warm enough tomorrow and unstable enough. It just might be from that little wave of low pressure, a couple of thunderstorms rumbling about. And that might be the only chance that we might see across the Northeast and in New York State of seeing any kind of precipitation at all during this week.
Yeah. Now, in the meantime, I've got the upper air of the European. So I'm just going to roll it back to today. I snuck out to get a glass of water. The trough in the east is sort of lifting out, but we're still left with this west-northwest flow, which, by the way, if you look at the trajectory of the jet during the day tomorrow, Joe, it's pretty much from north-central Canada, then across southern Canada, Great Lakes, and northeast. So there's likely to be more smoke around. Now, this is a time of year. Generally, the jet stream is slowly but surely weakening and pulling its way northward, but you still have some vestiges of the winter left in terms of the deeper upper lows that you see up in the Arctic region, and sometimes they migrate down into eastern Canada. We've got this flow out of Canada. As we move into Wednesday, there's an arm there. You see that swinging around. There's also, as tends to happen this time of year as well, where the southern part of the jet just sort of weakens and lingers. It's kind of waiting for a ridge to build of some form, but it just lingers, and this leaves lingering shortwave troughs that are around in the southern stream. So Wednesday, we've got this trough that's swinging into eastern Canada, so that's going to bring a cold front through. But watch what happens as we go through Thursday and Friday. Instead of lifting out, because there's a high that forms, an upper high that forms between the Azores and Iceland. So that kind of puts a little bit of a brick wall there. So instead of lifting out, it just sits there. And then the bottom of the trough actually is not too shabby. And then the whole upper low drops southwest. I mean, this is kind of weird because it gets to about the St. Lawrence River Valley, and then it just stops. And then it starts to drop southwestward into western New York and western Pennsylvania to make a nice cutoff low. Nice, when I say nice, I mean in terms of strength. Not so nice as far as the weather outcome that could come out of this. and it just has this broad cutoff in the eastern part of the United States, and this happens Saturday, Sunday, and starts to finally pull out during the day on Monday, Memorial Day. Now that's the Europeans' idea. We can look at the GFS and see what that's doing, and I think it's kind of in the same place here. Upper trough, leftover low cuts off over the St. Lawrence Valley, drops southward. And and the only difference is, Joe, with the GFS is that the GFS keeps that upper low instead of dropping it down to Ohio and West Virginia, it keeps it up into western New York, which might make for a better outcome in that you get something that comes up and wobbles up the coast, and then the upper low just sort of you wait for it to pull away. So in GFS case, you probably lose 1 day. In the Europeans case, you would lose at least 2 days. But they do have a similar idea here. So that to me says, check the box that there might be something happening over the Memorial Day weekend.
And that's why I say that, and I've said this over and over again, especially when you have a holiday on the line and you're forecasting for a holiday, you simply do not, a week in advance, make any guarantees that, hey, this looks like a great forecast straight on through, because you do that. And again, like the day before, a couple of days before, all of a sudden, from seemingly out of nowhere, something pops up, and then all of a sudden you have to do a lot of backpedaling. So we say that, again, with guarded optimism, overall the pattern doesn't look all that bad, but there are some possible stumbling blocks that we may run into as we get closer and we get a better handle on things. So we'll just play it by ear and see how it goes as we move on through this week.
Yeah, I'm just going to we'll just go back to the 0Z run of the GFS. So there's the low that's east of the Bahamas, and right now, and you can see, as I said, that pretty much gets kicked out to the northeast. Here's the front, which is pretty active with showers when it's in Canada, and then swings across New England. There's even a little bit of blue there, northwest of Maine. But that front goes out. That's a pretty decent size high, Joe, for this time of year. A 1034 high north of Lake Superior. That's a pretty robust high. There's your low off the Florida coast on Thursday. And now, again, the overnight 0Z run, they're playing this game back and forth where, one run has it, one run doesn't. The 0Z run from last night suppressed everything to the south and east, which goes against what it was doing yesterday. And then it kind of flipped back to what it was doing yesterday on the 6Z run, which is, to take something, and that matches up with the European. But the 6Z run, instead of sliding it out because of how it handles the cutoff in the eastern part of the United States, the low gets pulled up the coast, although it's a little bit further east than the European is. This would bring rain to southeastern New England, to maybe Long Island, but everybody else would not get any rain on Saturday. And then it's just dealing with whatever scattered showers that might be around with the upper low on Sunday and Monday, which, that's something that you can't really worry too much about. Yeah, there's still, there's still a lot of questions here. I agree with you. There's a lot of questions here with regards to the weekend, next weekend. You could see how it could turn out to be okay if everything is more suppressed and more northeast southwest oriented in that upper trough, and if it's a little further east, then everything gets shunted out south and east and you'll be mostly okay. But if it winds up doing something like what the European has, which is trying to line it up, pretty much along the Appalachians, then you're going to have a problem.
It's one that will be, again, needed to be monitored over the coming days ahead. But we'll keep you posted here at the Joe and Joe Weather Show. So just tune in tomorrow night, 7:35. We'll be here. We'll be here on Tuesday and Wednesday and even Thursday.
All right.
And we'll give you the good news or the bad news.
Of course, everybody will be everybody's going to be forecast shopping all week.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're saying it's going to rain, but so-and-so said.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll make a mention of this. We're This will put a smile on my wife's face. The German American Club here in Putnam Valley is having a big, big tag sale at their clubhouse on Saturday.
It's good. That's good. I've run out of tags. I need to buy some.
Well, you'll be able to get as many tags as you want. And I tell you, I love these tag sales because you go to them and sometimes it's like finding buried treasure. Sometimes you'll go and you'll find something that you've always wanted, or something that, oh my goodness, look at this. And, there it is. So they're having a tag sale at the German American Club in Putnam Valley, 11 Cramers Pond Road. Of course, I'll mention it again, or else, she'll get very upset if I don't. This coming Saturday, opening up the upcoming Memorial Day holiday weekend. And I don't know how many of you are Yankee fans. I've had, Joe, about 8 or 10 years ago, I had the honor of throwing out the first pitch at, it's not even known by this name anymore, Provident Bank Park, home of the Rockland Boulders. But also there that same day was none other than Bucky Bleeping Dent. That's what he's known as up in Boston. And Roy White, who was the always reliable right fielder for the New York Yankees.
Left fielder.
Left fielder or right field? Oh, yeah, Reggie played right fielder, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Reggie played right field.
Or
Reggie
center
Johnson
field.
Played right field, and I think Roy White played. Well, what do you expect?
Roy White played left field.
All right. So I got both of their names inscribed on a baseball. And I've had this ball now for like 8 years, and I'm like ruminating in my mind, should I put this out for the tag sale, for my wife's tag sale on Saturday? Maybe yes, maybe no. I'd like to really know, what would a Yankee fan pay for a baseball with Bucky Dent and Roy White's signature? If you're a Yankee fan, let me, put your asking price on the chat board. And then maybe, because it's just laying around. I have no clue what to do with this thing. I certainly have no interest in it. But one of these days I am going to get rid of it or give it up. But I'm just wondering if there's any...
Probably sell it on eBay.
I could probably do that too. Yeah.
I have never, ever, ever bought anything on eBay, nor have I ever sold anything on eBay.
My son is big into eBay.
Yeah, I never a single item. Never ate nothing, not a flake, not an ice pellet, nothing.
Yeah.
Do you have
Wikipedia says eBay costs money too, so
yeah, they take a cut.
Yeah.
Do you have Briller Jeopardy today?
Yes, I do.
Good.
So
I'm giving a smart dinner party this afternoon. So let's get this. I'm wearing hostess pants.
The only question is, how do they fit them in a box of Cracker Jacks? All right, hold on for a second. Hold on. Yeah, I hate this. Between my professional page and my personal page on Facebook, and if sometimes I go
I know they made it it's such a pain, and you're trying to flip back and forth, and I get it.
Yeah, I'm trying, and they're not letting me. Come on. This is so annoying.
Yeah. I'm on right now, mine is set to my personal page here. Let me see if you're trying to flip to your personal. I'm going to try to flip to my professional. No, mine flipped quickly.
No, I'm going to try this one more time. Let's try this one more time. Oh, God. Well, meanwhile,
I can't think of anything exciting to talk about. I mean, I didn't.
Here we go. Now
you got it? Okay, good. I've got no. I'm in a good mood today for some reason. Maybe that's because I got a pot of sauce on the stove, and I'm making pasta for the first time in months. So maybe that's what's got me going.
I had an urge for spaghetti or macaroni yesterday. You know why? Because one of the stations was running The Godfather on cable. You remember that part? I think it's right after the scene where Al Pacino kills the cop in the and the big boss at the restaurant.
Right. Uh-huh.
The guy plays and somebody's playing that piano, that old time piano, and you see nothing but like macaroni and spaghetti being tossed around. The people are eating that stuff. And I'm saying, man, I'm in the mood for pasta right
Also,
now.
the guys at the time that was supposed to, they wore great hats.
Yes, they did.
They really all guys. You look at old movies from the 30s, and particularly in the 30s and in the 40s too. The men, they always had hats on. No matter what they were doing, they had hats on.
And I always tell people when the Godfather's on, I get a twinge of nostalgia, Joe, because as you may be well aware, the part where Sonny beats the you know what out of Carlo,
yes,
in the streets, and that's where we used to live. That was,
well, a lot of that was shot there on
right.
between 116th Street and 112th Street by Mount Carmel, Mount Carmel Church.
Right. Well, that was I see it when that scene when he's being and he's by the Johnny Pump.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we used to call fire hydrant.
Right? I had not been to in Mount Carmel Church, which is on 115th Street, if I remember correctly. I had not been in that church since I was a kid, and then back sometime in the early 2000s, I was part of a group that lifted the Giglio for this feast.
Right.
The big, to lift that thing, wore it. You needed, there was like 20 people and we all had to lift it up.
Right.
Well, I went into I hadn't been in the Mount Carmel Church probably since the late 60s. And I forgot just how beautiful that church was inside. I mean, it was magnificent. It was something out of a church you'd see when you go to Italy. It was just gorgeous.
It was those churches, that Holy Rosary, which is now completely shut down. That was a beautiful church.
That was a beautiful cathedral, the Holy Rosary. That was a beautiful church.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Did they take that structure down?
No, it's still there.
It's still there. It's
still there after 3 years ago.
It's just empty?
It's just empty. They just closed it up.
So you can't even go inside.
Right.
Oh well.
That's too bad. But with the scene from The Godfather with the Johnny Pump running and then getting beat up, and in the background you see the old Washburn Wire Company.
Yes.
And they have for an effect, they have like a Rheingold beer truck off to one side. But every time I see it, I said, there's the old neighborhood, because that's where you and I grew up in the early 1960s.
Yep, for only a short period of time.
Yes. All right, here's Briller Jeopardy for today. On this Briller Jeopardy, can you name the 5 most common words that begin with the letters C and with the letters D? We'll start with C. The 5 most common words that begin with C. Joe?
I thought we did. Did we do this already?
I don't believe so. This was, well, wait a minute. Did we?
I thought we did.
Monday. Yeah, you know what? I think we did. All
right, so then you don't have anything beyond that.
I don't have anything new, and then you don't have anything.
Let me make sure I don't. Let me make sure. Hold on. So we could always do prepositions, Joe. Now, of course, the chat thing is not loading for me. Oh, good Lord. Really? I sometimes think that there's like this evil gremlin somewhere that just, sits and waits to do things like this. And the chat's not coming up. So I can't check. Oh, wait. We just come up there finally. All right, let's see. Let's see. What do we got here? Okay. We did? Yeah, because I did E and F. I've already did E and F, and so we had to do C and D. So we don't have. So anyway, we don't have one.
Let me remind you, in case you forgot, I did. It came up in my Facebook memories this morning that 1 year ago in Denver, Colorado, they had 8 inches of snow.
Oh, really?
And that happened just 2 or 3 days after they had temperatures of 90 degrees. You ever want to go to a wacko city for weather? Denver Denver seems to be the place.
Yeah. All right.
And I have a picture here of Denver under 8 inches of snow. And I wrote on Facebook, I'm sure glad I live here and not Denver this morning. I mean, think about it for a moment. Can you imagine shoveling away all that snow in this heat? So the comment there seems to suggest that while Denver had all that snow, that we here in our neck of the woods was probably enduring temperatures in the 80s or even maybe into the 90s. That was 1 year ago.
Probably. Be second here. Sorry about that. I thought I had an important message, but it can wait. All right, this is an easy one, folks. Okay, you ready? Preposition beginning with the letter G. The preposition beginning with the letter G, Joe.
I don't know. Give?
No.
Giving?
No. No. Christinapedia going is not. No other guesses, Joe?
No, I'm just looking at my Facebook memories here. There's a picture of you, me, well, the old FiOS 1 news team. This was the day in 2018 that our no, actually this wasn't the day. We were promoting our special annual summer forecast special. I see Mr. Green and Miss Brittany.
Oh, okay.
And, Brian and me and you and now we're all spread out all over the place.
Boy, that was a long time ago.
Yep.
Northern Grace, get, no. Steve Lapointe, gone, no. In is the preposition there, gone in 5. Given, get, got, gain, nope, 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 nope. No. Negative, nada. You're all wrong. One last chance, Mr. Rayo. Want to give it one more try?
I'm not going to try. I'm very bad on prepositions.
All right. So the answer is there are no prepositions beginning with the letter G. That was kind of cruel of me, wasn't it?
So you tried to fool us, and
yes,
you did.
I did.
And you did.
Yes, the Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Tempest by Weatherflow. Use the Tempest revolutionary Tempest weather system and join the fastest growing observing network on the planet. The referral link is at the top of the chat board, and use the coupon code Joe and Joe Weather Show. You get 10% off your purchase, either of the weather station or any of the other gadgets, gizmos, and clothes that they have. And Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. 631-756-1125 is the phone number, and the website is
OmniTrueValue.com. And let us also thank Mr. Lapointe and Mr. Probitsky.
Oh, Leon, I missed you, Leon. Yeah, thank you for hitting Super Chat. Yes. Thank you. All right, so we'll be back tomorrow night at 7:35. I got sauce on the stove I got to go take care of. So we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.